you this week?
Yes.
All right. Let me know when we are like officially live. Sure, we are already.
Yeah, we're there. Yep.
Okay. 30 seconds then. $15. 10.
7 star citizens, and welcome to Answer the Call, your weekly podcast and call-in show where you call in while you're waiting to get into Wave 1, stuck in queues.
Yeah.
I am here, as always, of course, with SaltEMike, and we're going to be talking about some, obviously some Wave 1 stuff that happened, 24 hours ago, not even.
No, not even.
And
Yeah.
some other stuff that happened in Star Citizen this week. But how you doing, Mike? How you going?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Been saving Stanton as well, so we'll talk a bit about
Yep.
that, which I don't think there's too much good to say about it. Have you done all the phases that you could do so far?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. There's really good, and then it's just Star Citizen nowadays, right? Like the expectations of things being smooth or getting smoother just don't exist, right? And I don't think we should just have those at any point anytime soon, I guess is what the problem is. But yeah, things are good, and I've been playing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing a lot and not watching as many. Like, I didn't even watch SCL or react to it on stream or anything like that. I did watch it last night, I should say, but I didn't react to it, and I've just been playing, which has been different, and that's a good thing. I think.
I played a lot of 4.0 in Evo this week.
Yeah.
And then so I'm yet to get Wave 1 chances, but it also sounds like I should maybe give it a couple of days before I even try.
Mm-hmm.
And then I played a lot of Save Stanton. So you said the same sort of thing last week, where it's like you've been playing a lot more, and it's about that time of the year, I guess, where we're starting to get into some more content, we're starting to get into some more hype, and just it being a little bit more enjoyable.
Yeah, I think I'm still riding the Sitcon wave a little bit of the org stuff. So I've been trying to just do that, think of that, and all that. And we did a lot of it yesterday. I was just telling Croncy before the podcast started, we did this huge 20-person. Everybody was in vultures except for I think 4 or 5 of us, and we were just moving cargo. And we got 300 SCU of RMC, most of it sold. And almost 300 SCU of RMC, and most of it sold without too many issues. But we found so many problems with the fact that when you create RMC, you're the owner of it, and if you're in the party, your party members can sell it. But if that person is like, "Hey, I have a life," you've been playing for 4 hours, all of a sudden it's not there. Yeah, Lars, one of the devs from CIG on the mission team, he was playing with us and posted a picture of it on Twitter, and it's it's pretty cool. I'll try to grab that picture while we're streaming and show it to you guys later. But yeah, there's just a bunch of vultures in our org hangar and stuff like that, so it was a lot of fun. But I think we should probably get Save Stanton out of the way first. And you said you've been playing a lot of it, so let's start with your experiences. How was it for you? Phase 1 and Phase 2, obviously, we haven't seen since we last streamed, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say both phases came out pretty quickly. I think Phase 1 was only out for 4 days or something before they've pushed Phase 2, maybe 5 days.
Yeah.
The only event we have to compare it with, obviously, is the Overdrive event, the Xenotron Overdrive event.
Weekly.
It's pretty much a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that speaks to me just mostly with timings that CIG clearly have in mind for the next month and a half in regards to IAE and 4.0 release.
Yeah.
Because I would imagine they would have otherwise probably made it weekly in the same way. I have been enjoying it. As always, the best server times, servers are always performing the best when it exactly. So didn't really have any issues either phase, and we're able to get them done pretty quickly. My one weird gripe is that Phase 1 feels more involved and difficult than Phase 2. Then
Yeah.
neither of them are particularly difficult, but you know what I mean? Like there's just more to it, I guess.
Yeah, the difficulty was just the issues, right? The only difficulty I think anybody came across with either of these were the issues. I think also phase 1 was more well thought out in terms of you had this cargo mission that you could do that seems more like you needed other people to help you out with it, and you could do it pretty efficiently. And then you had the just kill stuff, which was like a solo player can do that very easily, right? And then this one was just a solo player can do all of them. The second phase. Do you want to describe the phases, I guess, for people who may not know? And I'll do my best to grab some video of it.
Yeah, so first phase is pretty much just ship combat. So you are either protecting a like freelancer-esque ship, like there's a couple of different ones, but like a freelancer with some cargo as it gets attacked from some pirates in a few waves. And then the other mission from phase 1 is essentially the same thing, but you're recovering cargo rather than like saving the person.
Yeah.
And there's far less waves, I believe, in that one. So that was fine. That was decent. Like this feels like a good kind of mission for like 3 to 4 people. For it to be like enjoyable, but you're not super overkilling everything. We did do it with like 15 people though, because we can't help ourselves. And yeah, it was obviously just a steamroll. We only had, I think, one problem with any of the missions in phase 1, and it was the waves were weird. They either didn't spawn, or they like spawned too far away and then never came in, something like that. We're not sure.
But then the mission would just fail while you sat there, right? Was that happening to you?
No,
like our guy would just die. And yeah, the video's choppy. Dang, I thought we were gonna be okay, and I failed, and everything. Yeah. The video's choppy not because the stream or the actual video was choppy. The video's choppy because it's on a hard drive NAS. That's where you're reading it from. So I would have to move it over to my regular hard drives for it to work smoother. Sad.
Yeah, I didn't encounter that problem. Like I said, it was the only problem I had was just like us sitting there for like 20 minutes and then just not advancing, and that only happened once out of all the missions we did. So
wow, you're lucky.
Not sure what happened. Yeah,
maybe Australian servers or something like that, just better. Even timing plus the servers you're on, because man, was it a struggle for me to get them done. Like it got to the point where I was like, I hate them and I just want them to be done. It was just very annoying. Like you were like, okay, these are pretty easy. Couple hours, I'm done. Easy. It was not a couple hours because it was. I think it was a 50% fail rate on phase 2, and I think I was close to that on phase 1. Yeah, just unlucky. U.S. servers, maybe EU servers, something like that. But our assist, the assist one, which was the one that was like could be soloed. Yeah, same as you, just like wouldn't spawn things, and then eventually we're sitting there. There's nobody around, and the cargo hauler that you're assisting would just die. Like he would just start screaming and die.
Yeah.
And we're like,
interesting.
Yeah. So I think that was just a timer that like, all right, it's been too long, mission's over. But
yeah, I've got to imagine there's some sort of protections in place for it to be like, look, something's messed up here. Let's just like kill it, you know?
What's good is you don't, if you fail, you're not done. You just get to get up and try again.
Yeah, there's no like reputation punishments or anything in here. So at the very least, you can keep trying. But obviously, the way that you're talking about it and the way that everyone in both YouTube and Twitch chat are talking about it right now,
you were
sounds
lucky.
like I was very lucky. Yeah.
Yeah, you were. You were. It was really, really rough. And phase 2 was significantly worse for me.
We finished phase 2 in an hour.
Dude, yeah, you're super. It took me nearly 4.
Yeah, wow.
But I
liked phase 2.
I
liked phase 2. Oh, sure.
But then the last little bit, we finished it as a group. We were just sharing and like, screw it. We don't want to do this anymore. I also liked phase 2.
Yeah. I like the so they're using the like destroy drug mission like type
logic,
like big type or whatever logic that they also use for like the blow up the big tanks and whatnot. They're using that for mission 2 for one of the versions in phase 2, which was pretty cool. So you just go in and you blow some stuff up, feel feel good about that. There seemed like a reasonable amount of enemies, as well as we had some pretty decent AI at the time as well. So we actually did feel like we needed a bit more than like 2 or 3 people, just because. I mean, I got knocked down a few times.
Yeah.
Definitely not skill based.
I have a little bit of non-choppy footage right now. This is Diluthermex. Oh, it's choppy now, but just deal with it. It's Diluthermex, guys, which is the commodities from Xenothreat, but new boxes. So I'll just pause it so you guys can see the boxes, and they're explosive. So you can see at the top right, these are considered the Slicer's assets. If you do remember, because they're Xenothreat assets, what were you doing with these? You were restocking an Idris to fight, right, with this content. So it's probably like whatever we're blowing up here is useful to them for whatever they're going to be doing. Gotta say, narrative heavy is very interesting way of saying it. It's not.
Yeah, nothing
like
yet.
it's just not.
Like it's just it's not the same missions, but very similar missions to what we've already had. And just like they're just talking about the slices, and we're not. It would be cooler if, like, while we were doing this mission, we would get, a bit more story and a bit.
What did we learn from the 2 phases? That there's another faction that we didn't know about. That's it so far. Obviously,
there are
we're in the
people calling
beginning,
themselves the Slices, attacking Stanton. That's it.
And they're doing the same thing that other factions did, basically. And it's just kind of like, I'm not feeling this narrative. Like, we've all played other video games before, guys. Like, I don't know where they're getting the narrative thing from, but I'm not feeling it. So that would really be my only gripe outside of the very obvious. It was in PTU phases. Nothing was fixed. They're on a timeline. Everything is broken, and they pushed it out to live anyway. Arguments, which are, it's just I feel like I'm a broken record at this point. It's not even, there's no point in even saying it. They're just going to do it anyway, and it doesn't matter, right? So the idea behind that is just, all right, I'm just going to get it done and whatever. But I did find this to be very cool. Not only that, if you could see, there's 3 yellow markers that are above me. Above me is not these containers that you need to blow up. They're actually spaceships and ground vehicles that are considered Slicer assets that if you blow them up, it will help you complete the mission, which narratively, that's the closest thing to being like kind of cool and making sense. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I stole a couple of dragonflies. It was good fun.
Yeah, so I didn't take them. I destroyed them. Every dragonfly that I found was in a little bit of a dicey spot to like. I was too scared to get in it. I thought I would die, so I didn't take them.
Yeah.
But got a lot of injuries. Like, FPS guys are clapping people, and I mean, they're also shooting through walls and stuff like that and everything. But at the same time, like it felt punishing and painful and all that stuff, which was kind of neat. And I overall like everything that they're doing. I love the idea of getting together with your buddies every week or every couple days now, it seems like, and doing these extra phases and stuff. But it all depends on the reward. You want to talk about the reward together?
Yes. So the only time they've given us a reward in the past, or at least in the recent memory for me, for missions was one time when we were doing for Xenothreat. We got the armor kit, right?
And we only got the
reputation.
Yeah, and we only got the armor kit after complaining.
No.
Yes, trust me. we complained heavily that it was the ticket system, like the golden ticket garbage again. And
this was before the golden ticket. This is way before golden ticket.
Croncy. We're talking about Overdrive? Or are we talking about...
No, I'm not talking about Overdrive.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
No,
I thought we were talking about Overdrive.
I'm talking about literally this, I think it was the 2nd or 3rd time that Xenothreat ever happened.
Yeah.
They gave us the
armor.
The CDF armor. Yeah.
My mistake. My mistake. I was
Mike.
What? Overdrive, they gave us the ticket, and then we freaked out, and they gave us the Xenothreat armor. That's why I had Xenothreat armor in my head.
But yeah, so obviously we want to see more in-game rewards. I am in general in favor and like pre-patch events like this, just in like other games. But they usually come with a reward. And we do have a reward. We've got 4 guns that I think most of us thought originally were just going to be skins. Turns out that is not the case. They are not just skins.
Let me bring. I need to zoom out a little bit so we can actually see them. Hold on.
Yeah.
Here are the guns
So
on the
as a reward
Stanton
for
page.
so as a reward for completing all of the phases before 4.0 comes out, which you will have plenty of time if Overdrive was anything to go by. You'll get
Also,
2 size 2 pyro lasers.
You got some time, guys.
You get 2 size 2 pyro laser repeaters and 2 size 3 pyro laser repeaters. As you can see in the image there, they essentially just look like attritions with like a bit of a like janky, like salvaged rust skin, which that makes sense for pyro. But then in the clarification on this Spectrum post, it's somewhere. There we go. Yep. So they are based on attrition. So they look like attrition, so fair. And feature slightly increased damage output. This is interesting.
It's weird. Yeah. It's actually kind of weird.
Yeah.
Because they also said this is the only time this event will run.
Sort of.
Well,
because the other thing that I was going to touch on is
go for it.
So they removed phase 3. Phase 3 is no longer in the in the thing. So you just skipped straight to phase 4. So that's phase 3 now. So the one with, I think it was like distribution centers. Was
they had to get rid of it.
Guarantee. They had to get rid of that because it was just too balked, far too balked. As part of that, they said that like they will revisit these missions, but like it seemed more like they were talking about like the mission types rather than necessarily this, right?
Like, Save Stanton will never run again because, like you're saying, this is very clearly a pre-patch 4.0 event. I have a little bit more information on this. While we were, I believe, I don't know for sure, so I'm not going to make any super claims, but I think I was world first to open world first in an Evo isn't world first. Let's be real here. World first on live would be world first, especially when there's PvP. But I opened the final loot room door. Got all the keys, all that stuff. I opened the door. It was cool. But the door, as soon as I walked through the door, I died. Right.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure we were world first, Wanta, because they weren't working anyway. But we got the door open, and while I was doing that, one of the devs, I will not say which dev, instead of calling it save to save Stanton, he called it WTP.
Okay.
So that was some internal term, and then every other dev in the chat was like, "What are you?" Started yelling at him, like leaking, like saying he was leaking. And I pretty quickly was like, "Welcome to Pyro." Seemed very clearly welcome to Pyro. So you're very much on the idea of. This is clearly a pre-patch event. They cannot run this event again. They're calling them the pyro laser repeaters. But that doesn't mean that we can't get the pyro laser repeaters in other ways, right?
Yeah, that's where I'm at, right? So I am it's weird. I am in favor of skin rewards always for in-game stuff. I think that's cool and fun and people enjoy that. When you make it something that is objectively better than another item in game, I think genuinely just undecided. It's weird because it's like I am earning it in game. Awesome, hell yeah, let's go.
But it's locked to your account, and it's locked to your account. You can't lose it.
Exactly.
All the stuff that we heard at CitizenCon with insurance and all that stuff.
Yeah,
it gets really muddy and weird.
Yeah, so I have like wants for this basically, which I would love a couple of different things. One, I would love if you could find these the specific pyro laser repeaters on ships in pyro, and you can salvage them. I think would be awesome. Or as other rewards for kind of like exactly what you said with like contested zones or something, like other ways to earn them in game would be my preference. But I do think this is one of the better rewards they've ever released. Also, every single person saying like, "Oh, but attritions don't even work." They were working on the PTU, guys. Like it's fine.
Bugs aside, like you got to assume that maybe that bug won't be there when 1.0 comes out. The discussion that we're having right now is like the release
I
of
would
the
certainly hope
game,
it's not better than 4.0.
how does all this stuff affect the release of the game? And the reason we're having those
Yeah.
kind of conversations right now is because they just talked about releasing the game at CitizenCon. Everything that they're doing now is to get to the point of releasing the game. So every conversation that we're going to have is around the fact that they're actually going to attempt to release the game. So they have to start doing things that make sense, not for an alpha anymore, but for a released game. So when they make decisions to sell or not to sell, I'm so used to them selling. When they make decisions to put things like this in the game, they have to recognize how it will affect the launch of the game and the will never wipe again and blah blah blah, that kind of stuff, right? And my guess is like you're saying, there will be some way to get these, whether they're looted on missions, whether they're in contested zones, whatever. They just got to make sure
for them with UEC, whatever. Just as long as they're you can get them through another way at some point.
Exactly. This when they're more powerful, it gets really dicey if they should be part of a timed event or not. If it was a skin, I would say go for it. If it had nothing that affected the power of another player, I'd be fine with it. But it gets a little bit weird when it's a timed power thing. Very weird, because then if you can never get it again, what if this ends up becoming the meta, right? And then like 5 people have it at 10 years from now.
Exactly.
Gets really weird. I thought they had a
one
very
of my favorite
cool.
rewards, love it.
I mean, it's the first reward that is like this.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, yeah.
Vandal
because
mask,
everything else has
armor.
either been a skin or you're allowed to purchase something.
Like it's never really been like this. This is kind of a first. I thought this was cool. So this was if this is what they mean by narratively focused, this was pretty narrative and cool, except it was on the website and on YouTube and not in the game. But the video that they did, I thought was pretty neat.
Yeah, it's dope. I love there's like a guy in the radio in there being like, they're just trying to badmouth Pyro and they're trying to make it look like we're bad. It's very funny.
Yeah.
So, I like that a lot. Yeah, I would love to see some more of this sort of stuff just pop in, like literally just pop in on TVs in the game. Like, cool, like, you know, the honestly, a regular Xeno threat that used to happen, right?
Wait, you don't want to hear about Crusader everywhere you go?
Orison, the city in the clouds. So yeah, I'd love to see some more of that in game. I also just don't think they had time to do a lot of the stuff. I don't 100% remember. I'd have to find the tweet, but I think Elliot said something about how he would have loved to get VA in there for a voice in there for the missions, but it just wasn't feasible. So
yeah, they're on a tight time scale. It's like we got to get 4.0 out, we got to do this, we got to do that, and you know what? I'm okay with it. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that I'm going to be happy with what I'm playing, right? It has not been fun at times, right? It's been pretty rough. But I will say don't hold off on playing Wave 1 4.0.
I'll probably give it a chance about this time tomorrow. And see where it's at. Hopefully servers have stabilized a little bit. Maybe that's what we talk about next. So yeah, 4.0 Wave 1. As you could expect. So Wave 1 went, like I said, about 24 hours ago, less than 24 hours ago, went to Wave 1. And then I imagine their subscriber numbers shot up to like over 50,000 or something.
They made 300K yesterday.
I thought those numbers don't go to the... Obviously, they must, because I don't know where else they would get 300K from yesterday. But I always thought that those numbers don't go to the funding stats.
Maybe not. I don't know. I mean, they end up at the end of the year funding charts and stuff that they show, but I don't know. But there is a spike in the funding tracker. People are saying it's not on the funding tracker, but there is a spike in the funding tracker. So maybe
it's just them all buying their ships once they got into 4.0.
Maybe, but I don't know. There was definitely a spike though, which was interesting.
So yeah, we've been talking about for the last probably like 2 weeks that Evo has felt Wave 1 ready. I think we forgot just how many people would try to get into Wave 1, but it needed to happen like ASAP, right?
They have to scale.
We
weren't getting anywhere with Evo anymore. Every server I had, we had never reached the server cap. Not even close. I think the most people I'd seen was 100 when I was playing.
Yeah, pretty much the same.
And yeah, like we play at similar times, right? At off peak times. But I don't think they've
Yeah,
ever
yeah.
had like 2 servers running. And
Yeah.
yeah, what else? I mean, it was just they were kind of going through the bug list and working things out, but we have to get to the point where we could scale. So it's just
Yep.
yeah.
You just need the people. Literally the whole point of this patch isn't pyro, it's server meshing, and you need the numbers. So do you think there's a world they come back down from 380 though? Feels like they're pretty solid on that number now.
No, I think if anything they go up over time. Yeah.
Yep.
No, I don't see it going down. Well, I don't know actually. That's a good question because if we haven't reached the cap, we don't know what the limits are. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's probably safe to just say we'll see with that one, but yeah, legitimately a pretty good question. I'm not sure. I did play it.
So,
my experiences were interaction delays. I had one
Yep.
server error. I only played it for about an hour. I saw one person in PvP. That was it. And I had the armistice zone bug where I am permanently in an armistice zone, and I wasn't able to take damage, which was nice. But it was
the ultimate armistice bug.
Yeah, I mean, it's just good when you're like somebody's trying to kill you and you can't shoot back. So I was happy.
Yeah.
that happened. I think I have the footage of that. Yeah, it's about to happen like right here, I think.
Yep. Yeah, everyone's been telling me the last few hours it's been pretty bad. Still seems like it was better than like 318 wave 1, but that is the lowest of low bars. So yeah, I guess we'll see how we go over the next couple of days. I imagine
I had the perfect wife timing. Did you see that? Like I'm looking over my shoulder as I'm getting PvP. That she never comes in, but she comes in the one time somebody was shooting at me. It was pretty funny. I was like, what's happening?
Distraction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it just sounds like it's been rough. How were your login issues?
Did
you have any today?
No problems. Okay. But I didn't even try to get in yesterday. But I will say, every streamer that I looked at was not in game yesterday when I was looking, and I was like, "Yep." I was wave 1 dropped, and we were doing our org thing that I was talking about, and I just kept going with the org thing. The servers were great for the most part because nobody was in them. It was just us.
Cool. The only other thing I maybe want to mention on 4.0 is I did a bunch of mining testing this week. I think you did as well, actually.
A little bit.
In PTU. There are like 6 new commodities for just mining. As from what I could tell, though, none of them have their correct economy yet. Like none of them have accurate pricing. So one of the really rare ones, which I can't remember the name of now, but it was literally just one UEC per SEU.
Oh, okay. So you're finding different stuff than I am. Like I found Rysite, which was like 11K SEU at some of the in Pyro. I don't know. I wanted to go to Stanton and see if anybody was buying it over there, but I didn't see that. What do you remember the names of anything?
Stillaron.
Okay,
it's called Stillaron.
And this was while mining. You just randomly came across these?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Tell me more.
So Stillaron, you got Stillaron, Rickite, Tin, Silicon. You said you found ice. I'm still yet to find ice. And there was one more.
Where were you looking, on planets or asteroid belts?
Both.
Okay.
I was just doing a broad try to find everything. Yeah, I would imagine that's where you would find them.
Yeah.
But yeah, Stillaron was not worth anything.
Okay.
But it should be because it certainly had a rare consistency. So I imagine it's supposed to be one that you can get. Silicon ore is a garbage tier. Tin ore is a garbage tier.
Ice was
garbage tier. They've also got like new like bad stuff.
Yeah.
And then Rickite also was a new rare one. So I'm glad to hear that the Rickite was selling for a decent amount. Because that's like in Checkmate or whatever, or Ruin Station, wherever I just saw it, at like 10K, 11K per SCU.
Yeah. I think that's like the good one. And then I wonder if it's like 25, 35K in Stanton, something like that. I did see RMC was 9K in Pyro to buy. So it's kind of like buy it in Pyro, jump through the jump gate, get attacked a lot for your RMC. Sell it in Stanton probably, because that leaves room, I believe, to even sell it at a pretty good gain if it's stolen as well. Like it's well, I guess if you steal it, you pay nothing for it, but yeah.
Yeah, but the profit margin is more than it would normally be.
Exactly. So it's still pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't. That's one thing that I did not spend enough time in that I really wanted to do, but I actually spent more time in live than anything. I got the org brain stuff going on. I'm all excited for that stuff.
But yeah, the reason why I mentioned that is because it's also a thing that we didn't mention before, but we got ready, which was the patch watch. They did release the 4.0 patch watch, and they talked about economy rebalance. The quantum rebalancing that they're doing a lot of, the jumping rebalance makes sense. We've got a system where like 60 million kilometer jumps are extremely common. So quantum needs to be very different.
Yeah, and have you seen what they've done?
Not recently, no.
I think as recently as yesterday, they have balanced a lot of the quantum drives, and I think it's time for some community feedback because I don't think they're getting it right. It's I'm just bringing up the post. So starter ships have gone down to about half an SCU, and they cannot jump with the current drives the way they are. To be fair, with the drives the way they are now, from like Microtech to ArcCorp.
Yeah.
Think about it. Like
that's the thing. I am trying to think about it because like there are plenty of places to refuel. Refueling never works, but there are plenty of places.
That's my argument. Is that you got the cart before the horse here a little bit. You can't refuel consistently at stations even.
Yeah.
Right? Like, ooh, it's a little rough to do that. If you can't consistently refuel, but they got it again. It's like one of these things where like they got to move the game forward, and are we just going to suffer for it? I don't know.
Because that would also mean like, no, you'd probably be fine from Crusader to Turson. That's like 40 mil.
Yeah, those are fine, but it's just one jump you could. You can't even do two, and it's like, is that really the direction you want to go with small ships? Maybe. But is that going to be fun? Like this is that crap that Jared always says, the realism over fun thing. Yeah. And because like you got there's people also who don't play the game as consistently as we do, making the decisions. So that's why I say that it's like feedback is really, really important here because we're the ones who play every day, and we have to express to them that hey, this doesn't right away. It doesn't sound right. Let's play it for a little while, see how it feels, and then tell them how it actually is, and they'll address it right away. But yeah, the cutter Rambler is going to be your go-to Pyro starter ship because it's got 1.5 SCU. If you're taking a starter ship to
Pyro, you are brave.
Maybe, but 1.5 SCU of quantum fuel. There's a Reddit post of a guy who went through all of the changes and showed some significant ones, and they have nerfed every single quantum fuel like ship capacity except for like one or two have gone up. So everything is nerfed. Like you would have thought, the way you were talking is you thought that they were going up, right? Because we're getting a bigger star system. They went the opposite.
Yeah. Because like, well, it depends on what you want to do. Do you want to incentivize people to just use the system, or do you want to force people to do the refueling gameplay? And that sounds like they're trying to do that, but that's just like notoriously bugged all the time.
Yeah, where refueling gameplay. So that's the frustrating one is we've been dealing with that problem for 4 years, I feel like at this point. So
we'll see. They do that balancing, like they do this balancing on and off literally every PTU patch, so all these numbers could change.
Yeah, but we just gotta give our feedback.
It is interesting. Yeah.
Again, there's even if the people that are making these decisions do play the game, there's no chance they play the game as much as you because they're working a lot, and the I can't imagine that they want to
also
play it very
usually
much
working
after
on
work.
builds where most features are working because it's like locally hosted server, like blah blah blah.
Exactly. So just a feedback thing, and be respectful and be nice, and you'll probably get what you want out of it, and it'll be fine. This
so
was the big
also
one,
touched
though.
in there, missiles and bombs being expensive.
Moab is like 30K, but
yeah, that's
the thing that's missing
change.
For sure. But the thing that's missing there is the there's no update to claim timers or anything like that. So you still could get around this. But yeah.
Yeah.
It's a start, I guess.
That'd be a bit of a problem. I guess it still would be slower for them to do that, just not by a ton.
But if you have 3 A2s, then it's not. Yeah. So there are ways around being like an annoying person, I guess. But other than that, it's a good start, and we know that they want to address the claim timers at some point. So
yeah,
I don't really have too many issues with it.
Yep.
One thing at a time.
Now you mentioned starter ships. Should we head to what was essentially the drama of the week, with us seeing all the new ships that are coming at IAE?
Yeah, because I don't think there's anything else here. Oh, I guess the one thing that we should mention before we move on, though, is the final thing is, I think this is pretty obvious, but just in case people aren't aware, and I also don't think this is going to happen, but their intentions are to wipe less after 4.0. So the expectation is there will definitely be a wipe in 4.0. I don't know who thinks there wouldn't be. And then from there, they don't want to be wiping too much because they feel that they'll have their stuff dialed in. But I'm sure there's like 13 people that already know every exploit possible to make money out of nowhere that haven't shared it yet. And then it'll pop out when live happens, like always. And then they're going to have to wipe again at some point. But
yeah, they need to, well, like they already have for a little bit, but like the less frequent wipes are most important because it allows you to balance stuff for a long-term purpose. Whereas if you're wiping once every 6 months or whatever, then the game economy is just completely different. So hopefully less exploits more and more often, or ways for them to revert those sort of issues without a wipe. But yeah, I imagine we'll see a lot of exploits, specifically in 4.0.
Yeah, it is what it is. Like they're just pretending like they're going to be able to do that, and I think it's pretty realistic that they probably won't be able to.
Yeah.
But yeah, want to talk about some new ships then?
Yeah. So
start
obviously we already knew about the Polaris and the Starlancer.
Yeah, we talked about those last
ships
week.
That are coming. We got a look at the other 4 ships that are going to be flyable at IAE. We had the Medical Terrapin, the 2 Hornets, and of course, everyone's favorite starter ship that no one hates at all, the Crusader Intrepid.
It just looks like a toy.
I love it.
Yeah, of course you do.
It's sick as hell.
It looks like it looks like a toy. There's something that, like, if you look at the other ships, there's like texture to the outside of them. This just looks plastic to me. So that's whatever.
I would argue a lot of Crusader ships do, but I think the thing that's specifically changing it here, which is like the one argument that I have been like agreeing with people with, is how flat the top is.
Yeah.
Like it goes into these curves and stuff that looks very, very Crusader, and it's just weirdly flat. But other than that, I love it. I reckon it looks sick as hell.
Not very effective.
Yeah, not very effective, but it's a starter ship, so I don't really care as much, right? Like we always do when, like, everyone recommends starter ships all the time. Almost 99% of the time, everyone says the Avenger Titan. But the realistic, like, what first ship should you get is just, what do you like the look of? What do you think you're going to enjoy being in the most? And apparently for most of the Star Citizen community, that is never this ship, is what I've learned over the last few days. But I like it. I think it's really cool.
I just keep going down the line. Yeah, price is going to factor in a lot into this thing. But I also am more along the lines of, like, what the hell is a starter ship even? And yeah, like we're so far off what normal video games do, which is like, here's $70, you jump in game, you go through the tutorial, and then they lay like 5 ships out in front of you and say, kind of, what path do you want to start with here? And when I see this ship, this path doesn't There is no path this one looks like it's going down, really. Not good at combat. It does have the biggest quantum fuel capacity that I've seen. It's got 1.5 SCU versus the other ones having half an SCU. So that's interesting there. Maybe that's the route they want to go with this for now. I do like it. It does have more SCU than a lot of the ships, but in a very weird split way. So yeah, I don't know
Which
where.
I will say, I do love that they're using more of the like interesting cargo elevators. Yeah, that we saw with the Star Lantern and stuff. So that's cool.
They screwed this up a little bit though. I would say feedback wise, if they literally raised the ship by half a meter, then interacting with these would be 10 times easier right now. Other than that, I do really like them, and I like the interior of the ship as well. Right, I think it just feels like a little home. I always like ships that do that, but I just keep
my favorite
looking at
take
starters, and it's like, what's the point? What is how does this make it make sense? It doesn't
my
make
favorite
sense.
take that I heard about this was that it's clearly not a Crusader ship. There's not enough useless doors. Every door in the interior has a purpose. I think it makes sense from a starter ship perspective of it's going to get you into the game. It's going to let you do most basic level missions and start earning some money. It also has the advantage that some starters don't have, but has been a lot more common recently, of having a living in interior, right? But they seem to be doing that all the time now. Like the Sewelin had a live in interior and stuff.
Yeah, I think that they've figured out what a starter ship is from that perspective. Like it must have an interior, it must have a bed. Aurora and Mustang are kind of feeling weird now, right? And don't fit.
Yeah. So yeah, from that perspective, I like a lot. Obviously, there was a lot of drama with the size 3
now it's
gun
a size 4.
and it being super undergunned. It is now a size 4, which brings it a lot closer into the firepower of a lot of the other starter ships.
I struggled to kill 2 prospectors today in a VHRT.
Prospectors, I believe, are overtuned at the moment, to be fair.
Yeah, I think they might have like invincible spots like, or whatever.
Yeah. But still, I did a couple of VLRTs with it, no problem for the most part. Just took a while, but the ship was nimble enough to not just blow up on the spot, and I was able to complete the mission. So it is one of the better bunker busting ones as well, because it's got a nice little armory inside it. So if that's like the route that you want to go around, it might be okay. But realistically,
I think you can fit a pulse inside the cargo bays as well.
You can. I think you have to tractor beam it though. I don't know if you can fly it in.
But still, for bunker busting, that's another plus for it. You can probably put it in through the door as well there.
Probably. The pulse is extremely tiny.
Yeah. A lot of people are saying size 5 like gun, like it should be a size 5 gun. Guys, it still has less firepower than no, it's definitely not. It has less firepower.
A size 5
than like a Titan or other ships that people are comparing it to. So I don't know.
Sure, that's the thing. Yeah, if it's the same price as a Titan, then I would essentially never recommend this unless people like it's just like a visual thing. You want to enjoy the ship that you start with, but if it's a little bit on the cheaper side, I reckon I could get around to recommending it. I'm not going to pick it up myself. I don't even know if I'll buy it in game because it's a starter ship, but I will say this would have been the starter ship I would have bought 4 years ago.
Somebody just said it's a Nomad competitor in Twitch chat. How?
No, it is not.
It is not even close.
Not remotely.
Yeah, if it's
the Nomad has what?
then...
12 SCU of cargo?
No,
or
Nomad. Yeah. Nomad has it has 24.
That's right. Yeah. Not remotely a Nomad. Yeah.
It's not even close, man. It's 3 times the cargo, 3 times the weapons, and just no. Stop it.
Yep.
Get some help. But it just comes down to I don't understand starter ships. I don't understand what they're trying to do with them, and make it make sense to me because it's just not at the moment. I don't get it. You should be starting with a starter, and it should feel like something. I don't know how to express my feelings, but every ship after starters, you kind of understand what they do. And I know that these are supposed to kind of
Yeah,
be like the jack of all trades or whatever, but none
yeah.
of them really are. And it's just kind of like, yeah, you
You
just
gotta.
see that
I think you gotta
CIG
think of
was
the
figuring things
starters.
out for a long time, and they never really
Sure.
quite did on this side of things.
I can see what you mean because like usually the first ship you buy after a starter will be usually something either very like specific for a certain
Yep.
career or whatnot. But like yeah, the point of starters is just to get you into the game, learn the game, be able to make a reasonable amount of money to start off with. And all of the starters, except for maybe the Pisces, are really good at that. Um,
Here's where I feel
yeah.
so strongly about this. Okay.
Hmm.
Again, 1.0 release all these things.
Yeah.
In the future, the expectation would be like all of us here probably I would gather that many of the people listening to a podcast like this, watching streams like ours and things like that,
Mm.
probably have more than just a starter ship, or quickly are able to like get out of one right away and are immediately
Yeah.
getting out of the starter ship and into other things, right?
Yeah.
Um, new players on release, like, hey, SaltEMike, Croncy, is this game good? Should I get it? Yes. Buy the game. Well, what ship should I
Yep.
get? You know, and it's like you're supposed to be recommending them the starter ship. You're not supposed to be recommending a $90 ship for somebody in a
Yeah. No.
game
100%.
like this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's just a. I want the game to make sense for the new player coming in that isn't
Hmm.
immediately getting the sticker shock of, oh my god, it's $100 minimum to play this game,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it should not be. It just should not be. All of us have
Yeah.
done the over the top thing, the uh above expectations of what I think a player will do when the game is actually released. So that experience
Hmm.
has to be good for that player, or they're going to leave
Yeah. Of
right
course.
away, right? So
Yep.
that's why I feel super strongly about this. Is I'm not trying to be negative now because it doesn't make any
Yeah. Yeah.
sense. Because most of us just have other ships and we won't be
Mhm.
flying these. So we're all like,
Yep.
hey, this thing sucks. Well, yeah, it sucks because you have something better, right?
Yeah.
How is this
Yeah.
work for the person who doesn't? And
Yeah.
I look at this ship in particular, and it kind of sucks at everything. So it's like weird. The interior's
But
really, really
every
good.
starter does. I know it does a lot of things
No,
worse than every other starter,
the Aurora just like
but
destroys
no.
this thing. It
But this is
destroys
cooler,
it. I agree.
and it
The
has a
interior's
cooler
cooler.
interior, right? And
We're
that's
we're on that
that's why
page
I'm saying like
together.
I feel like that's a big conversation with new players. A lot of the time is just like, what do you like the look of? What do you think you'll enjoy
No,
most?
no. That's current new players. That's current Star Citizen evangelist types. But in the future, when the game comes out, people are going to be like, what is the best ship?
Oh yeah, they'll always
You know
do
what
that.
I
That's
mean?
fair. Yeah.
And no one's going to recommend this piece of shit right now, unless they change something
Me.
for it. You
Uh,
won't. You know
well,
you
you
won't.
see, Mike, I'm going to be selling tier 5 Intrepids. That's the one ship I'll be crafting.
Yeah. Again, look wise, I am against the grain. I think a little bit like yourself. I don't like the exterior, but the interior I really, really, really like. Really
Yeah.
like. So I do like it, but I don't think it's ever something that you would recommend. I would recommend an Aurora over this to a new player in a heartbeat.
I personally super hate Auroras, so I don't feel like I can bring myself to do that. But I would recommend a like Avenger over this and stuff. But it's also going to come down to price. Like I said, if
Yep.
it is on that higher end, then you can't. You actually just can't recommend it because it'll just be easier for people to get it in game.
Yeah.
You know.
Anyone saying that the
Yeah.
Aurora is horrible doesn't use it. So it's got pretty good health and it's got pretty good
Nah,
DPS.
I'm with
So
everyone. Aurora's trash. Mike's wrong.
you might think
Aurora's
it's
garbage.
ugly. That's fine, right? But again, I'm recommending it
It's got
from
bad
the.
vibes, Mike, and that's what it's all about when it comes down to it.
It's got good HUD layout and stuff, but
That's true. Yeah.
it does come down to why I'm recommending it to the player is because they will be able to participate in more content that way. The only thing that they're missing out is cargo gameplay, and I think the cargo gameplay would turn a lot of people off from the game if they tried to experience it early on. So yeah, I think that's totally fine. So yeah.
Cool. All right, let's move on from
Terrapin?
that one. Yeah, medical terrapin. This is the one that will sell a lot I imagine this is going to be one of the
Why do you
probably one of
feel
the
that
most
way?
sold.
I don't know
It's just
much.
a big popular. It's just popular. It's just
People have been
people.
begging for this thing for a while, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, the Terrapin's useful now. At least one of the
Medbed
variants.
med beds are just becoming more increasingly useful with the amount of
That
injuries we
too.
get.
Yep. Yeah, it's cool. So it's just a variant, although saying just a variant probably like diminishes it a lot. The interior is obviously completely different.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I really like is the panel for the med bed actually comes out of the roof and like folds out, which is very cool.
Oh, sick! I never even
Um,
saw that. I don't think.
yeah, so it looks nice and cool. The emergency lights on this are dope. These are not the emergency lights. There's more
No,
fancy
I
lights
get to it
that pop up.
eventually.
Yeah,
I don't know when. I couldn't
yeah,
find
yeah.
them for a while.
Yep. So they're quite cool. Love the like even just like stuff like the shade of red is really nice and it looks
Mm-hmm.
good. Yeah, it's the Terrapin. I think of one reason as well why like
Oh, did you
people
see
really want
this?
the Terrapin medical.
It has some like protector that only covers the top of your head or something.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of like armor plates that move around quite a bit over the top of it. Um, but yeah, I think the real reason everyone wants this is it's basically the trauma team stuff from Cyberpunk. It's pretty much like just dead on looks like that, feels like that. And it's kind of cool. I don't know why you would ever use this over a Cutlass Red, other than it looks cool. Um,
I don't think the Cutlass Red
yeah,
works. That's why
it
for right
does.
now.
It does.
Okay, yeah, I heard some news that it doesn't at the moment, but like the right now thing, I do think that there was a patch that came out last night that fixed some issues with
Mhm.
the screens, and I think that's not what was not working on that one.
Yep.
People are
Also,
talking about
yeah, chat
tiers of
making a good point.
beds
Yeah,
as well, but that actually
you can just
isn't.
backspace.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It's not even a good point.
Yeah,
Every ship is a tier 1 bed.
yeah.
Every ship
Just
is the highest
some
tier
are
bed.
tier ones, but in a roundabout way.
Yeah. You put
Yeah,
all your stuff into the inventory of the ship and you hit backspace. You have
yeah,
now completely healed every injury.
yeah.
And guess what? Your food and water is full as well. It
Hmm.
a tiered bed that can create an entirely new sentient human but cannot heal a broken leg is a very interesting way of going about this. So I think we should just fully expect medical
I mean,
gameplay to get a completely new rework that is probably more along the lines of not healing certain types of injuries, not respawning, but certain beds will have limitations on how often you could do it, how many times you could do it, how much material they take, and all that kind of thing. I think that's the direction it has
yep,
to go, given what we're
yep.
seeing now. But yeah.
Just to fight you on that first point, Mike, I know how to make a child. I don't know how to fix a broken bone. It makes sense. It's all good.
I
There's some
just
weird stuff happening in the med bed.
How many people just
Um,
had to have that visual in their head? I had the visual. I'm sorry.
um, but yeah, no, you're 100% right. For future purposes, tier 2 will matter. Um,
Yeah, in the
but
future.
for
In the
now, yeah.
future. Yeah.
For now, it's fine. I think they did a really good job with it. It is exactly what I would want out of a medical Terrapin. Although I was kind of surprised they only went for one bed. It feels like it's big enough for two.
Yeah.
The internal space of the Terrapin. So,
But I feel like if they put 2, it kills
yeah,
the Cutlass Red, and they didn't want to do that because they want every ship
that's
to
fair.
feel like it has value, and they didn't want to take that from the Red, would be my guess. Even though the Red is tier 3 beds and not tier 2,
Yeah.
correct, I think. But
Yep.
yeah. You want to move on
That's
to the
fair.
Hornets?
Yeah. So
They're
the Hornet's
kinda
pretty cool. It's just yeah, like I
this one
hated the
people are pissed
original.
about.
I hated the original aesthetics of the Hornets when they came out with the Mark IIs. Thought they looked a lot cooler. These ones, same thing. They look a lot cooler than the old ones. They are upsized weapons. Yep, they're military ships.
Yep. The stealth on the stealthy one, I think you can get down to like 3 or 4K. So stealth is becoming very meta in the game right now. So this might be something that you want to think about melting for or something like that, just if you're into PvP.
Yep.
But I don't actually know. Yeah, so it just comes down to stuff that I'm not aware of because I'm not doing any PvP at the moment because just master modes and all that stuff. The other ship has no additional gameplay as far as I could tell.
Yeah.
We don't know what radar size it has. I think it has a larger radar, which means that you should be able to see further out. But no idea
But yeah,
on that one.
that is another bit of gameplay that's just sort of like in the ether of like we're waiting. I think I don't know if they specifically mentioned, but I believe we're waiting until we get the quantum boosts, like the small
Yeah,
jumps, until we get the proper radar functionalities. Um, so the tracker is just kind of pointless at the moment. But yeah, everyone seems pretty hyped on the Ghost. Love the skins that are on them as well. So
I like the rear.
solid.
I
Yeah.
think the stealthier engine looking thing, and yeah,
Mhm.
and then the tracker, the nose of the tracker, if I can get to it, looks pretty sick.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like a
Yeah,
USB
it's pretty
port,
dope.
but then it has all the little instruments that are
Yeah.
coming out, and yeah, I think it just looks cool.
Yeah.
So
The giant radar dish on the top looks cool. It's just right now it's just
it also they don't
visuals.
do anything. Yeah, like you could
Yeah.
swap all of them out
Yeah.
with each other, and it's just like okay,
Yeah.
they don't really do anything. So the Hornets are at the moment. It of course everything is still in PTU. There may be
Mhm.
more things that are happening there with these in the future that just didn't make it in. And you got to remember when
Yep.
they're on the PTU, you're meant to find issues with the ships and give feedback on them
Mhm.
and all that stuff. They did make feedback threads for them.
Yep. Yep.
So give your feedback on them, please, and just
Yep.
be respectful, and you'll probably get some headway on some of this
Yep.
stuff.
There was one other thing,
Please.
which is on Anvil Day in the halls.
Oh, I haven't been in.
There is an empty space labeled what is it called?
Oh, yeah, we know that
We
there's
know the
something.
next concept ship from the PTU. I'm not going to go into the other stuff that is leaks, but we know that it is the Anvil Paladin.
Yeah, I saw an
So
image
that
of
is
it or
that is
something.
our concept ship that we will be getting.
It's not leaks if
Um,
it's
yeah,
PTU. Like, yeah.
the description is leaks. I believe.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to know any of it.
Yeah, but the Anvil Paladin. So the big thing is we're getting 6 flyables at IAE, which is the most we've ever gotten, beating the 5 that we got. It was either last year or the year before, as well as a concept. So it's going to be a pretty wild IAE. The funding is going to go nuts, as you would expect, especially with the Polaris coming out at this IAE, which we're going to be talking about next week because it starts this next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Friday.
Speaking of, during both ISC and SCL, Jared mentioned we're not doing an ISC next week. We're doing something for IAE. And we're not doing an SCL next week. We're doing something for IAE. What? Like, I was like, oh, it'll be
surprised?
a Jax McCleary thing on Friday. But like, well, it's doing an IAE thing instead of SCL is what's like breaking me.
Oh, I think it's pretty obvious. IAE is when they do the Jax McCleary stuff, but it's not. It back in the day, it used to be like each day there would be a video that came out. So I think they might be going back to that, like Anvil Day, and then they have a whole thing that they do. Would be my guess. But he also made it sound like it's something they've never really done before.
Yeah,
so.
it feels like I do think we're gonna get Jax again this year, and if we don't, I actually might delete my Star Citizen account. We didn't get Jax at all last year,
He's leaving
and I was
himself
so mad. I was so mad, Mike. This is the one reason why I pledged the game.
Mm-hmm.
And so he better be coming back this week. But yeah, it was just the sort of like, normally they don't do them instead of an ISC because you'll usually still get like the ship ISC where it's like, hey, you know, we're going to talk it. Well, we'll get it presumably the following week. We'll talk about the medical terrapin and the Crusader boy. So yeah.
But whatever he said has got me, like, I'm intrigued. I'm looking forward to it. But I also feel like we're gonna.
Curious.
But he said it's replacing ISC, which is Thursday.
So and then also there's one replacing SCL.
Well, like SCL. The also part makes sense because Friday is when the event starts, and like in my head with the like each day things swap, and it swaps with a new video. It's like okay, but when he says it replaces ISC, it's like well that's Thursday the day before. So what are they doing there? But I'm just gonna keep my eye out on it. And that's that. I mean, do you want to quickly talk about ISC, SCL? I think we very briefly did. I don't think there's anything to say or whatever. The videos
there was
were
a,
not
there was a
bad.
bit of a
or anything. There's just we're in this very weird place where they're doing lots of important work, but nobody knows when it's going to get done and when you're going to see it, because everything is about 4.0, and until 4.0 is out the door, we don't really know where anything is going. So they're doing a lot of talking, but nobody can correlate what they're talking about to when or what it actually means for the player. Especially an episode like SCL where they're just talking about mostly about art, right? So it's
not this week, but yes,
this week was mostly about art.
This was server meshing. Oh, SCL, sorry.
Yeah. Oh yeah, ISC was server meshing.
ISC was yeah.
But even then, it was the timeline of when are we going to see performance improvements was hard to understand through that episode. So
yeah.
It
being about server meshing meant that 90% of it went way over my head.
Yeah, same.
But the stuff that I could appreciate was the amount of times they said, this didn't work, this didn't work, this didn't work, this was harder than we thought it would be, blah, 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 as they went through. It's always nice to see them be, like, honest with that stuff. And then the only, like, actual notable thing for me in SCL, really, because it was mostly a rehashing of a lot of stuff that had already been mentioned in, like, 20 other different places, right? So it's just all sort of collating. Was the dream kill of roads basically being nowhere soon. So rip all of your ranges, guys. Roads are very, 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 very far away.
And like not being able to chop trees, like maybe we could or maybe we couldn't, but then there's all these other things. I
didn't mind that stuff as much because like I never really thought we would do that. It seems way too complex for a game like StarCit to track and not be like an absolute nightmare.
Well, that's basically what they said. But at the same time, like, don't you want to chop trees and use that to craft stuff?
If they made trees a commodity, yeah, it'd be dope as hell.
Right? That'd be sick.
Yeah.
What if they made a literal like sawmill ship? Then we would be able to chop trees.
A sawmill ship?
Yeah.
Pioneer variant, and instead of the factories, it's just got like massive chainsaws that come out of the bottom.
But they went straight to
of course that'd be sick. But I think more realistically, they'll make it so that if they wanted to do like wood as a commodity, you'll just have a module in your base that grows the trees, right? Rather than it being, here are the trees out in the wild, go cut them.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just memeing, obviously, but it's
he's not chat. He's actually a genius.
I mean, I would definitely love to chop trees. I think it would be cool. Like bring commodities and craftables down to some of the like fantasy MMO stuff, like mining with a pickaxe and chopping with a tree would be funny. But it's just like it's obviously not going to happen. But maybe some like unique trees could be, right? Very unique, bespoke like harvestables, things like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could make like some trees that essentially work like mineable rocks.
Yeah,
and then that's probably fine. But
you do whatever you could do. You could do anything unique. It's just not the trees that there's like a billion of them across the entire game. But I don't know. I think that's pretty much everything on my front.
Yeah. Obviously, if we missed anything, and you guys want to talk about it from this week. Please do. We still have one spot left in our calls waiting. So !podcast on Twitch. Follow the link going to the green room, or if you're over on YouTube, in the description or pinned at the top. Come and talk about 4.0 Wave 1. Come and talk about Save Stanton. Come and talk about why the Intrepid is the ugliest thing that you think exists, even though I'm on the podcast and I'm the ugliest thing you think exists. So
I'm also here too. There, so we're not yeah. But yeah, also just thanks for being here. And if you guys want to, hit the follow button on our channels. Obviously, it's streaming here on my channel. I'm going to go ahead and shout out Croncy so you guys can follow him. But the other thing is if you're on YouTube, you can subscribe and all that stuff as well. But yeah, you want to get into the first caller?
Let's do it.
All right. We got Romanco. I think first time caller.
Raman from my community.
Hello.
Hello.
Yep.
Hello.
Yep. Hey, Raman. Well, I call him
I'm
Ronan.
doing.
I don't know if he prefers Roman Cove.
No. That's my actual name, so that's
Oh,
perfect.
easy.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Nice.
I've written down some notes. If it's okay, I can go through them really quickly.
Yeah.
How much time do I have?
20 seconds.
No.
Oh.
What do we want to do? We feel like about 5 minutes.
With this many people, like 10 minutes is solid.
Yeah.
But like we have to cut you off at 10 minutes.
No, sure. About 5 to 7 minutes probably would be perfect.
Yeah.
I'll just talk
Sure.
about my experience. So I'll talk about PU, phase 1. They went flawlessly. Server FPS was like 30 when I was doing them, so I just ran through them 1 to 2 hours. We could only do the retrieve cargo missions because the other version of the mission was broken.
Yep.
The ship never flew away. For some reason, the pirates would never spawn. And it was just, but obviously that's good that they gave us 2 versions of the mission to do.
I will say I do like that as well because that's very different to how Overdrive worked, where it was just
if it was broken, you were screwed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and yes, very repetitive. Where this gave you the option to experience something else.
Yeah, exactly. For the second one, that one was a bit weird. I did it with you, Croncy. Sorry for bombing you the other day, but we finished them obviously.
Didn't I tell you to? I thought I told you to.
You did, but I still felt
we were
bad.
trying to kill the last target. I got downed, and I was like, "Well, someone can either heal me, or someone could just bomb the area."
But what I realized about those particular missions is that because I was in the A1 and I wanted to bomb a bunch of the targets, like the assets, they didn't actually spawn until you landed or went to the mission. So that was a bit weird,
Not only that, Mike was talking about how apparently some of the vehicles upstairs were assets. We never encountered that. It was always boxes in the thing.
No,
so
but we did have dragonflies.
They would be marked as
the
assets.
dragonflies and stuff were there, but they weren't assets.
They'll be marked as assets, but you can complete the mission without destroying them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well,
I did not encounter that for markers, but markers are broken all the time. So.
And sometimes you could not complete by destroying the boxes, and you had to destroy. It's
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if the marker was broken, the mission was broken. That's basically how the phase 2 went for like the assassinate the guy. And if you didn't have enough markers, typically you could not complete the destroy or whatever mission.
Yeah, and then you'd have to cancel the mission and do the next one. And then for the third one, do we know what that's going to be? Is that going to be the Idris mission?
That is the Idris mission. Yeah, like I said, originally the third
like
one was the
big jump.
That's because originally the third one was the distribution center, which was like a pretty big FPS mission, and that had to get removed. So it does feel like a big jump right now, and that's a bit disappointing. But
yeah. Do you guys think
I guess.
Do you guys think we'll get the Polaris before it or after?
What day is RSI Day?
RSI Day. I am not sure.
Because I don't. I mean, yeah, I guess it depends. Will they they did 4 or 5 days between phase 1 and 2? Will they do the same for phase 3, or will they wait longer? I don't know. Because I know that you can fight Polarises in that mission.
November 26th and 27th.
That's pretty late. So I think it'll be before the Polaris comes out then.
Okay,
but
so it'll be an interesting
as always,
thing to do.
You can do all the missions before 4.0. So
yeah. And then I'll talk about Wave 1 4.0. So I actually got into it. I forgot that I was a subscriber. I had the $10 pledge. So that was pretty cool. I downloaded it today, and it ran pretty well for me the first 3 hours. I got out there. I spawned into the Polaris, spawned it out of the hangar, flew out. I spawned at Orison, and everything worked fine. I went through the jump point, and honestly, I was just doing the jump point. I went from Stanton to Pyre, then Pyre to Stanton, because it's cool. I was watching you guys do it, and it was fun.
Yeah, this is going to be most people's first jump.
Yeah. And I was basically just doing that for 2 hours, trying to figure all of that stuff out, and it was fun. And then the problem started. So the constant server every 5 minutes, having to erase your character from the EPTU, and it's just just a general mess. But it was really fun to see when you got up to the Stanton gate, even though it was broken, there's 40 or 50 people just sitting there, just watching this gate constantly just bug closed.
Yeah.
It's a very weird thing to see in this video game specifically, because you'd think people would like leave, but they're still sitting there and just watching it. It's I don't know, it's just interesting for me.
Yeah.
But one thing I do want to ask, the difference between Evocati and EPTU, like what are the rules for Evocati? Can you guys talk about that?
You can't
It's-
PvP. That's the main one. So the whole contested
Yeah.
zone thing, we've never been able to truly experience it. And like right away, I was like, this is broke. Like the moment I was able to be PvP, the second an elevator door opened, like it's Camp City already.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm like, geez,
'Cause
this is gonna be a mess.
The one thing I wrote down was managing the data specifically for the PvP aspect of the game, because Evocati didn't let you do that. I
Correct.
think we're gonna encounter a lot more issues with people mass PvPing out in space, doing all of that, and obviously, yeah, we're gonna get feedback.
I want to
but
point out,
that's
I don't
gonna
think
be the
mass
broken part.
PvP in Pyro is an issue, but I
Yeah,
do
or
think
even a
there's
word,
going
a
to
phrase
be
that should be
issues.
uttered. Mass
Yeah, I think
PvP
there
is
will-
not a thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think there will be issues because we haven't had it before, that have never appeared before, that
Yeah.
CIG will have to mess around with.
Yeah.
If you're
Okay,
if you're
okay.
shooting at ships at stations, if you're killing people in Pyro, like it's okay. My only
Yeah.
gripe right now is contested zones is this unique gameplay type that is like the moment I got out of an elevator, there was somebody staring at the elevator with a gun. We should probably address that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a balancing issue, right? And
Exactly.
that's the sort of stuff that we're gonna find.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I guess I'll leave on just talking about 4.0 and like what we have
Mhm.
To come for the future. So you guys were talking about like the quantum travel changes and the bomb changes and all that type of stuff. I don't know where I heard it from, but I honestly think coming towards 1.0 and like having all the systems in place, like I feel like a MOA bomb should be like 500,000 to a million each. Because if you think about it, you're destroying like millions of dollars worth of assets in the game. So
Yeah.
But obviously
probably
we're
get
not
there.
there yet. But
What's
yeah.
the
I was
actual
gonna say
value of
that's-
it? I gave an interesting number that I don't think is correct because I'm
Mhm.
seeing somebody say that it's 600K in the game. So I might have just misspoke on the number.
Okay.
Yeah.
But even then, it's also going to heavily depend on like what other gameplay opportunities happen where bombs can be used.
Yeah.
You know, that stuff's going to get balanced a lot over the
Also,
next few years.
over the last week, PDCs now recognize any bomb and shoot at it. So that kind of takes ships with PDCs.
And any ship. I said it last week and it wasn't true, and then the next day it was true.
Yeah.
They started shooting at
Yeah.
ships.
That's awesome.
I brought it into Arena Commander. It didn't effectively kill any ships, but
Yeah, no.
it was they were shooting at ships, kind of.
I was gonna say I did try to finish one of the Stanton missions, just like in the PTU, with a
Yeah.
Polaris and just sat there next to the guy that needed defending, and it almost worked. You could almost, hey guys, you can solo a Polaris almost.
I'm just kind of curious in Jumptown how it'll play out with like A2 bombs, and I think it does
Mhm.
it does bring a little balance to that experience that is a little bit weird. I think for now is like
Yeah.
people. But I still think people are going to be able to like low drop with an A2 bomb and sacrifice themselves just to
Yeah.
get the clear out an area, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're at the 7-minute mark, so 8-minute-ish. What
Yeah,
else do you
perfect.
want to?
We're at the 10 minutes.
Nice.
Probably nothing else. I mean, yeah, good to go.
All right, bro.
All right, awesome. Cheers,
first
Roman.
time
Hopefully
call
you'll
or
call
no?
again.
Have a good one. Thank you for having me.
Was it your first time calling or no?
Yeah,
I thought so.
Yeah,
Okay,
hell
cool.
yeah.
Welcome.
it's first time.
Hopefully
you.
we'll talk to you again soon. It was a good call, man.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
All right, man.
Have a good
Cheers,
one.
Roman.
Bye-bye.
Catch up.
All right, our next caller is Slangen. Also, I think a first-time caller, unless it's Slagan who's got a new account. I don't know. Slangen, you're muted.
Langen, you are
Can you
muted.
hear us?
Yeah, hello. Sorry, I had to mute
Howdy.
Twitch first.
All good.
Welcome,
good.
welcome.
Thank you. I've also put down some notes. I will try and keep it short as well.
All
And-
of our callers are so prepared today. Loving this.
Yes.
Yeah, I watched the latest IAC, and I gotta say, I love that one. I've been
Cool.
wanting to see a lot more from the developer perspective, and like seeing that guy Jordan from the Manchester team being excited, that gave me a shit ton of hope actually.
Yep.
It was super fun to see.
There was one weird thing about the ISC, which is while they were very specifically talking about server meshing and just straight up server meshing, all of the player in-game footage was just jump points. It's like, I get why, but it's like, show all the footage of like, hundreds of people being in a room and stuff. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, I think the way they cut it was a bit weird, but the topics they had, I want to see a lot more of that. Like even other similar things, like they take an IC ticket and they solve it, and they talk about which systems were affected and stuff. I think from like, I'm a developer as well. I really liked it, and like I said, the excitement he had, I can feel the same thing when it's something like I see a place that I can improve. And I want to see how it does and like follow up on how it went. And it's just like with all this tech they're introducing, of course, there's been like always the second guessing in the back of the head, like, can they actually pull it off, sort of? And this was the first real. Oh, sorry, my kid is screaming in the background. This was the first real like.
He's really excited for IAE.
Visual feedback from them.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was really good. It was I got really excited at the end when they were like, all right, we've done a lot of the things that we wanted to, and now we have the opportunity to go back and fix a lot of the stuff that has just been sitting there rotting, essentially. And because that's what we really need. And I know a lot of people are like, spaghetti code and all the, like, he just said we're going to take out things and replace them, right? And that's really, really what we need. So, Slangen, you still there, or is your
I'm
still
listening.
trying to buy a Polaris?
No, my son came in at the same time. It was a bit of an unfortunate timing. But yeah, and that leads me to 4.0. I got to test it last night as well when they went live. First time. I've never been in a tech preview, anything. I'm one of those who come back periodically as well and like enjoy the game once, twice, three times a year perhaps. Super fun. Made a jump to Pyro and back, and like you guys have been talking about in the streams, it was something else. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Did you feel too long, too short? Did just right? Like, because again, this is the first time a lot of you guys did this. How right off the bat, what were your initial reactions outside of like visually? It's obviously very like wow, right? But
yes, I mean, I only jumped twice. First time was more of a holy shit moment, so it didn't really register much actually.
When it
second
first
time was more like, just
whoa.
Yeah.
It's like a roller
and I
coaster.
did it in the Star Lancer as well with the letterbox view. I was so pushed back, I was like, I'm not even gonna see where I'm going almost. But yeah, it actually went fine. Then took the Polaris back, also went fine. I enjoyed it. I think the length is good. I enjoyed like how it felt inside of it. I don't have any real feedback in terms of things I want them to change. I mean, there are some reports of the stuttering and stuff. I had that as well, but like I truly enjoyed it, actually. Yeah.
Sweet.
Cool. Did you do anything else?
I've actually been I've been jumping a little bit back and forth in Stanton today. I'm in EU, and those server has been borked, so I've been on the US server. It's been kind of a struggle, but yeah, been around trying to jump between different servers, trying to do stuff I enjoy, like salvaging. Took the Vulture out for a spin, and yeah,
nice.
And it's like there's been some issues, of course. A lot of people have been negative about it. It's actually been running quite well for me, besides the server hiccups in the beginning when everyone tried to run to an ASAP terminal and shit. Like that was, of course, horrible.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like fun. a lot of like client side performance bugs got fixed for the most part during Evo, and now it's just like a lot of server stuff, and then just regular bugs. The good old falling through floors and stuff.
Yeah. One thing that I thought of, and there's been, of course, rumors in different locations that like 4.0 testing in EVO has been suffering a bit based on the Polaris and the Star Lancer being in the PTU. What's your guys' thought on that thing?
I mean, There's no way 30 Polarises sitting at the front of a jump gate doesn't somehow negatively affect someone's performance one way or the other.
No,
or like
no,
the
no, no.
server's performance, honestly.
I think he means that the new ships were in the PTU and they weren't initially in 4.0, so less people were testing 4.0 because the new ships were new and shiny. Am I right on that?
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people
probably.
spend time in PTU instead of ePTU, I think. Or not ePTU, but Evocade build.
Very probably, especially because we had been in Evo for a while, right? So it started to get a bit stale.
Yeah, I think that's understandable. And one thing I've thought about a lot recently when being in the PTU and stuff, I think they need to like change testing a bit. If you look at the economy overhaul and things that are now, if you want to test things like a Hull C, for instance, there's no simple way of just booting up the PTU with a newly copied account and getting a Hull C and test it out. You got to ask for money, you got to go and buy it and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Would be a lot more pleasant experience to test things if it was like, I want to test this ship, give it to me, let me go and do my thing. Like I can add to reports and all that stuff. But yeah, I understand they want to keep it like a gaming experience still, sort of, but it feels like it's becoming a hassle almost to try certain things.
Everything has been a hassle in the last since
I guess so,
I feel like literally everything has been. I've basically just stuck to mining and salvage because those things are fairly working ish, and I just stuck to that because everything else I just struggled with, and luckily for me that's stuff that I like. And that's about it. Like I stopped doing cargo missions. I'm really sad about that because I was doing a fun little thing for a while that I was really enjoying, but then the whole rep stuff went down, and it was just like, I just can't get like motivated to test as much. I'm motivated to play, and when a lot of the things that you like to play just don't work, it's kind of tough.
Yeah,
definitely. I think those were the major things I had to talk about. Not that much, but I had one last little tidbit about the laser repeaters. I'm thinking if they are boosted, the ones that you get from the mission, I'll say Stanton. Theoretically 1.0, they could be just a higher tier. What do you guys think about that one? So you could basically like craft them to the same
to
level.
Be an extra higher tier or something,
Yeah. So the reward is not something that's unique that no one can reach, but just helps you a bit on the way.
Yeah, certainly they could do that for sure. I wouldn't mind that at all.
I think that is one of the only ways to balance it. Because it's just a weird one, or just generally being able to find the blueprint for them, and then you're fine.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like there's a lot of ways to do it, but yeah. All right, Slagan, I think we're about time. Is there anything else you want to chat about?
No, thanks for having me.
Of course. Another first time, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
Awesome. Hopefully we have you again soon. Lots of first times today. All right. So that was Slagan, and now our next caller is Dr. Introverticius. I'm just going to put Doc on the title.
Introverts, yes.
Yeah, I can't. I'll never be able to say his name right, but
how you doing, Doctor?
He's just Doc.
No, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good.
Oh, I have you very quiet. I don't know if Mike does.
I'll see. Doc, what do you want to talk about today?
Well, I've been playing Alpha 4.0.
Yep.
Yeah, that was quite an experience to jump to Pyro and actually see a new star system for the first time in 5 years that I've been playing Star Citizen.
Can I ask, was the music working in P2 today?
Yes and no.
Okay.
It was really like sort of distorted and like stuttery.
Yeah, there's an issue with the music where it's like sometimes it doubles and then it messes up the whole thing. Because honestly, the experience of doing it with the music working is just it's insane.
I was gobsmacked. Like my jaw was like on the ground.
Yep.
But
the Get Out of the Hangar music gets very repetitive and annoying though.
Yeah.
I was actually in the tunnel for the 3rd time, I think, and I went past the tunnel wall almost.
Yep.
But I was still towards Pyro, and I could see the tunnel shape, and it was really weird.
I had a bug like that during Evo. I think it's a server-related issue.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Like, I just had, like, issue after issue after that. I was like, it still thinks I'm in between Pyro and Stanton.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think it's, like, a big step in the right way. Because, you know, everything aside, it's like, happening now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's again, like the end of the ISC, like, a lot of people will probably look at the ISC and be like, throwaway one. But the fact that it is you're playing server meshing, like, that's what a lot of people are like not really quite getting. Like, you're actually playing server meshing in a PTU, not on a test preview. You are playing server meshing. So that is this is not something to ignore here, right? I think a lot of people are just that's going right over their head, and it shouldn't.
Yeah, we're shocked by the big shiny Pyro, but like the underlying tech is much more the important thing.
Yeah. And then there's a screenshot I have as well of Area 18, and there's about just all of us in this tram, and it's like, I've not seen this many players before.
Brave to go to Area 18 on a wave 1.
Very brave.
Like, that is crazy brave. But it does mean that you got that sick photo, so.
Yeah.
And that you get to the jump point quicker if you're able to get out of the hangar.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's like I could see ships in the tunnel as well.
Yeah.
That's what shocked me. But yeah.
It's cool. It's cool seeing other people go through the jump point with you. I did a EVA test, and when I did it, there was like 3 ships that came up behind me and came past me, which is just like a cool. It's just nice to see. It doesn't actually really have any gameplay interactions, but you know, it adds to the whole atmosphere of it.
Oh yeah. But other than that, I don't really want to talk about anything else. It's actually happening. You know, albeit in testing in PTU, but it's there, and more people can actually play it and push it harder than it did in Evo.
For sure. And Doc was part of our salvage op yesterday too, which was fun.
That was
nice.
That was quite fun.
Yeah, so that was good times. But all right, Doc, it sounds like that's it. So we'll let you go, and look forward to talking to you soon, and salvaging and mining with you as well.
Yeah.
Catch you later, bro. Bye-bye.
Catch you, mate.
All right, so that's Doc, and then Rocket. I can't say this name. You say
Rakedos.
Rakedos. There we go. It sounds like a Pokemon. I don't know. I'm bad with that stuff. Rakedos, what's up, dude?
Hey, so we talked about what is a starter ship.
Tell me.
Well, part of the problem
confused.
is there's like 4 different things that a starship is. After the Intrepid thing started, I looked up the stats of everything Star Citizen calls a starter ship. And there is like 4 categories.
Well, let's remove what Star Citizen calls a starter ship, because Star Citizen's trying to get you to spend money. But I'll hear you out, obviously, but we also recognize how ridiculous calling a $90 spaceship like the Nomad a premium starter ship is, right? Are we all in agreement with this, or am I the crazy one?
All right,
crazy,
so then 3 categories, not 4. So the next step down is the Avenger Titan, Reliant Core, the Syndulan, and the 300i. That is all your guns are equivalent to either 4 size 2 or 3 size 3.
Yep. All size 1 drives for the most part as far as quantum travel goes, right?
It's 2 size 1 shields.
Yeah.
And 6 to 8 SCU of cargo, which is enough for like the basics cargo missions.
Sure.
There's 1 or 2 other things that are in that price category, but generally that is the 60 to 65 with the Syndulan at 7.
Yeah.
Below that, you've got the Cutter and the
hold on. Can I stop you there for just one sec? On pricing, sure. I think it's very important to include the game package with those because people, like 4-hour conversation, the expectation is for this to be the player's only ship potentially.
Yeah.
Is it 60 to 65 with a game package, or are we adding $10 to $20 to $15 on top of that?
We need to add it on top of that because I'm using the store.
Understood. No worries. No worries at all. It's just I think it's worth noting because they would be getting the game package and not the ship alone. So when talking about the price, I think that's pretty important. But we'll just tack on that extra cost. And again, the cost of AAA games nowadays are not $60 anymore. They're not $45. So the idea of a launched Star Citizen probably would be above 60 to 65 anyway, right? So it seems fine to me. All right, continue. I'm sorry.
So below that, you've got the Cutter, and the Intrepid probably belongs in that category, and then there's the Pisces. I'm not seeing a really defining thing there other than it's not bringing that much firepower. Officially, the Cutter has 4 SCU of cargo, but its selling point is that it can carry a vehicle. The Pisces thing is that it's small. It's technically a snub as far as what you can summon it on.
2 jump seats maybe is a valuable commodity for it.
And then the final category is Aurora and Mustang. Just they're not finished ships.
Absolute
the forgotten. Yeah.
But yeah, the 6 to 8 SCU 4 size 2/3 size 3 category, the Titan category, seems to be the popular one, and the Crusader Intrepid feels like it was trying to aim for that category,
but missed,
and then gave it 1 size 3 instead of 3 size 3.
Well, it's a size 4 now,
but still a little bit undergunned.
Still undergunned.
It's so the reason that size is like the most popular is because honestly, it's just the best value for money because you will use those ships for a long time. I feel like, especially the Titan. Yeah, you could, right? They are useful enough for long enough. Whereas a lot of the smaller ones, you feel like you need to upgrade a lot earlier, if that makes sense. So, I think
if they did the same scaling thing to try and get that much firepower onto a single gun, that would actually give the Intrepid 1 size 6 in that.
Let's go. I'm down. Let's do it.
It would be weird to have one size
shooting a size 6.
1 size 6 and then the size 7 on the Ares or whatever. It gets a little weird, but people keep saying 5, but you could make a bespoke 5 and have it be have it make sense maybe, but I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
And that doesn't have any. That's not accounting for anything with engineering and weapon penetration based on size or anything like that. This is old numbers, but it seems to hold up so far.
Yeah, well, everything you've said has made sense, and especially the end part is they could have something up their sleeve where this is a unique weapon that does something special, and that's why you want it. I don't know.
All right, that's all I got.
Well, yeah, thanks for enlightening us about the. I think the 6 to 8 cargo thing is, like it kind of gives a nice. And the weapons and everything like it. Okay, we know where starter ships fall in the line. I'm just still trying to figure out what we would use them for, or how you would,
from a gameplay perspective,
how you would sell them to a new player. Like you want to use this one because you like this, or it's not like you're a DPS player or you're a healer. You know, it's like we don't have these comparisons that we can make like in other games. So it's just a very weird place right now where the other ships are just like that, mining ships, salvage ships, cargo ships. So it just makes a lot more sense when they get more specialized. But all right, Rockados.
There is other categories other than starters. So if you want to compare it to like the Cutlass class ships,
Those should not be called starters, just straight up.
No, they are 2-man ships. Do not call them starters.
Yeah, it's goofy, very very goofy. But they have game packages, of course.
Yep.
As a comparison between the starters and the Cutlass class ships, it's as far as it being worth 2 starters or whatever. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this.
It's not. I think most ships are like with turrets and stuff like that are not worth the currently. Having somebody in the turret versus being in a second ship. But yeah. So
all right.
All right, bro.
If there's nothing else for Kratos, we'll leave it there.
Yeah, man.
All right.
Good call, and thanks for enlightening everything. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate. Have a good one.
All right. I am not singing it. But our next caller's name is Ocean Man.
Ocean Man.
Welcome.
Oh shit, we just lost 1,000 subscribers. How are you doing, Ocean Man? You are currently muted. There we go.
There he is.
I'm doing good.
Howdy.
You gentlemen doing?
Pretty good. I got
Not
to
too
turn
bad.
you up. You're fine. I will turn you up, though, okay? Don't worry about yourself.
It's very hot in this room. That's about it.
So, the thing I wanted to talk about was how exciting the new pyro repeaters are going to be.
All right. What's exciting about them for you?
So, if you ever notice in Star Citizen, there's not really a lot of build diversity. Like, you always see everyone doing the same thing because the meta's like only one thing can ever be good.
Yeah.
Now, have either of you ever played Elite Dangerous?
A little bit.
Not enough to even say I have, to be honest.
Yeah.
So in Elite Dangerous, there's these unique weapons that you can get through the faction
engineering
reputation.
Or whatever.
No, through the faction reputation.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Yep.
Like for example, there's like a normal missile launcher, which is just like one big missile, and the only way you can get the cluster missile, which is kind of like our rattlers, you got to level all the way up.
Okay.
Or there's like a scatter gun that does it all in a super focus point. So what I originally heard is that it wasn't going to be upscaled damage, but those repeaters were going to have upscaled alpha damage, which would be perfect for pirates because you want to scare people with the first few volleys and then get them to pull over. So
but it's also a repeater, which isn't high alpha damage. So, yeah.
But if the first shot on that repeater, like from cold, is one big shot, then it could be like that. And you're like, oh, every single shot from this repeater is going to be crazy when you get hit by it. So you could like scare people into pulling over and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's what I was, I'm hoping is that in order to get these weapons, you have to level up with a faction in Pyro. Besides just this. And then in the future, all the different factions are going to have sort of side grades of all the weapons.
Yeah, this is exactly what CIG have been talking about recently with reputation rewards, crafting rewards being essentially that. Like we are now in a world where we're going to see upgraded items. This is the first one ever, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Except for maybe some of the, well, I guess it will be the first one, but some of the weapons that are in like the combat zones, the contestant zones, right? So, it's like it's an exciting world because we now get different things. Like, we're getting a little more variety. It'd be hard to argue against it, right?
I see the Eve player in chat. Somebody said faction ammo tied to factions. Yeah. Faction ammo is a very big thing, I think, right?
Yeah.
And the only other thing I wanted to talk about was for the contested zones, if they added some sort of time limit to them, I would stop people camping at the elevators constantly. Like maybe the oxygen runs out in the station after a certain point, and then you gotta leave.
That's not. I was like, what do you mean a time limit? But now when you say oxygen, it makes a lot more sense to me. Yeah, like
have you ever played like Tarkov or something?
Yeah.
The raid.
Yeah, but that's an unreal. Like Tarkov is not Star Citizen, and you can't do that.
I also think it goes against what they want it to be. Like the way that they've talked about it is they do want it to be able to be
farmed.
Not camped, but like you can farm it. The thing that would need to change is I need to be able to get into the room, period,
Yeah.
And if someone just standing there, if someone's just standing there at the first elevator, there's nothing I can do. So that stuff needs to happen. Even if it was just something as simple as like the armistice zone extends like 10 meters or something, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think there are things they can do. I also think I would prefer them to just be able to be farmed. If you are in a large enough group, and you have the endurance to stay there, continuing to do it for hours and hours, I want you to be rewarded, but I also want to come in and try to punish you because you've been doing it for so long. You've now got a horde of like loot as well there.
It
so
also
it's more incentivizing
it also balances the gameplay between the solo player and the large group. Is if a solo player finds some good camping spots and can catch that group that is very comfortable because they're in a group. All of a sudden, it does balance the gameplay around. I am literally just talking about the first elevator. Like, the door opens and somebody has a gun in my face is pretty fucking stupid.
Is it a bunch of different rooms, or is it one big room or one big arena? I haven't played it.
There's a lot of different rooms.
Hundreds of rooms with height and cover and I can go through a vent and find another room that looks into the larger room that everybody is in and shoot you from there, and you will never even think to look at where I am. There's it is a camper's and dream. It is going to be rat central, and guess what? There's rats running around it as well, like little rat boids. So there's a new creature there, but that's what it is. It's
So instead of forcing people to leave, would you be more open to specific rooms will run out of oxygen just to keep people rotating around the area?
I'm totally fine with that.
It's just hazards, right? Hazards are always a sort of a cool aspect.
Just make it so people aren't sitting at that entrance elevator, because that's going to be the best place to sit. In an armistice, people are just going to sit at that armistice line then. I don't know if you ever played
that's
New World or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, the second I then remembered Siege of Orison, and the armistice ended right at the edge of the tram. So you had like one step and then you would get blown up.
Yeah.
So it'd just be the same thing.
Yeah, we know one of the end areas has no oxygen. I'm asking if it's still that way, but even they had talked about in the original ISC that it's cold, it doesn't have oxygen, when they were, so it may stay that way. I like that a lot because I like the idea of a Tarkov raid, these being like that, but I don't like the idea of pressing O and seeing the timer up at the top of the screen, because it's just, that's not what it is. But the idea of having something bearing down your neck going, we got to get out of here, and somebody else going, one more thing, and no, we got to get out of here. No, I just want to loot one more box, like that kind of thing. You guys don't get it.
There's a whole bottle of cruise here.
Yeah. Oh, I found, something I did not mention? I found 3 new things that might be crafting commodities.
Ooh,
I found...
in boxes, like small clothes?
In pyro containers, I found a cable. It's like a wrapped up cable, just like Tarkov. I found a little, screwy thing, and then I found this long kind of tubey thing. So it's like, it looks like... It reminds me of... little salvage pieces from Tarkov for your hangar, or not for your hangar, for your hideout, or salvage from Eve, that when you salvage ships is these little trinkets things that add up to something, hundreds of these cables to make a spaceship, maybe, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
It starts getting, it just started getting interesting. So
you trade it with NPCs with real stuff as well.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bartering in Star Citizen would be very interesting. I was talking about this yesterday. I think it might end up in a video that I'm thinking about.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Oh, it's probably going to make it so pirates are also going to be stealing your components every time you get pirated.
Yeah.
You see that A-tier quantum drive.
Yep.
All that stuff. So,
yeah.
But, you're going to have probably better go out dying then, so that way you get the money back from insurance.
Yeah, we'll see. But all right, Ocean Man, it feels like the end unless you got something else.
No, I have nothing else.
All right, cool. Thanks for your call. Another first-time call?
Yep.
Yeah, damn, everybody today. It's crazy.
Thanks for calling in.
All right, thanks for calling in, dude.
Thanks for having me.
All right, bye now.
No worries. Catch you, mate.
Yeah. Everybody's new except for the last guy. Well, and Doc. Doc wasn't new. Artesius, what's up, dude?
Not much, guys. How are you?
How are you?
It's really hot.
It's not too bad in WA today. It's super windy though.
Yeah.
I guess I'll talk about the Safe Stanton event, as wasn't really discussed so far. Me and my friends logged through that for about 10 hours today to try and get.
Yep.
We did half of phase 1 last night. The rest of it today in phase 2. We had to redo a bit of phase 1 for one of my friends. But effectively the cargo missions didn't work. If we delivered it, only whoever picked up the mission would succeed, and everyone else couldn't complete it. Yeah, and then for the what Mike said, randomly exploding haulers, getting our ship rammed, heaps. We ended up getting so sick of it, we ended up pulling out a hammerhead just to try and with 4 people on it, to try and we had 3 ships in the one mission ram 3 turrets and knock out 3 turrets. So I don't know if that's AI working properly or doing stuff properly, or
definitely on purpose. What are you talking about?
Yeah, definitely on purpose. They're all Buccaneers, so it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Yes, it was all right. The second part was just pain. We were so just mentally exhausted by the end of it.
Yeah, like it's supposed to be fun, and it wasn't. It wasn't.
Yeah, like my main issue was just the mission didn't work. Now you have to quantum travel halfway across the system again to go to another mission that doesn't work.
We got really lucky. We did like 5 of the missions.
I got the workaround. Kids. Yep. It's not a good workaround, but if you look at the timer on each of those missions, it's only 2 minutes. So if you don't want to do the jump, which again is probably like 3 to 5 minutes, so it's like the timer isn't really helping, you could wait and see if it changes closer to you.
Yeah.
So you can wait and see if it rotates to where you're at, but
yeah. So we were just picking them up. We're like, because like I finished, and then the next mission, the next guy finished, so we'd had to like wait, and like you'd have a stack of like, then the third guy would finish, and then the fourth guy came in later. Then he was the one picking up the missions and sharing it, because you can't, once you finish, that's it. You can't pick up the missions and share it again. But like, yeah, like even with a TS2 and a hammerhead, you're still taking like 5 to 10 minutes to do the quantum jumps between Hearst and Microtech and all that. Yeah. And then it's just the bunker mission never worked once. We destroyed everything, cleared everything, went up and down the elevator a few times just to make sure. Never worked. We did 3 in a row, and we just went, this is ridiculous. We're not doing this anymore.
The execute mission, there was one where it was like, all right, the marker didn't spawn. This one's bugged too. But we were kind of like stuck there for a few minutes looking for new missions. And then all of a sudden, boom, there it was. Yeah. So it might just be like one of those things where like, and then we get impatient and. But just at the same time, why should I have to be patient? Because we had this on the PTU forever, and all these issues were there, and you never fixed them, and you still put it live anyway. Because ship sales, it's like a broken record, man. It's getting so annoying. I just want to enjoy the game, but I can't because ship sales.
Yeah, and then
I will say I don't think this one got pushed for ship sales. I think this one got pushed for 4.0. No, I don't think this got pushed for IAE. It got pushed for 4.0, almost certainly.
Well, yeah, the welcome to Pyro thing, but yeah.
I will say about like the timing thing, we did do one where, and it's just like, I'm kind of tired of missions where you can just top down just top down in a ship and just kill all the AI. It's just like, this isn't
That's why I like the asset destroy one, because not all the assets are outside. Some of them are, some of them aren't. But also, just to go back on you, Croncy, it definitely is an IAE thing, because this thing had to be in a 324 patch, so they can't. I mean, they could have taken it out completely.
I'm so confused. Like the only because this could have happened after IAE.
Agreed. Why is
that's what I'm saying? Because of 4.0, because they've got a time limit before 4.0 has to come out.
Which is December 20 something.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, but we had one where there was copians on it, so that was a bit of extra fun because we killed everyone we could see. The marker still didn't come up. The copians were still there because they come up on scanner. Like I kind of want to know like why copians come up on the scanner but humans don't. Like how does that work? But
because
also,
they use as we found out, they use the commodity spawning system.
Yep, Zach talked
there
about
you
it on
go, then.
SEO. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember now. And then we're just
Good
like, all right,
catch,
I'm just
Croncy.
gonna get out and check everything. There was a couple of guys hiding in some rooms, but like we probably spent 20 minutes there just scoping out every possible thing just to make sure the guy wasn't there and the marker wasn't working.
Yeah.
And it just was another dud. And we had that like 3 times in a row, and then it finally worked. Then we get like 2 good missions, and then we get like 2 to 3 bad missions. And it was just like by the end of it, we're just like, oh, thank God that's over with. Like,
yeah. That's how I felt. I just felt relief that it was over and I never had to do it again.
Yeah, well, I have to because one of our friends couldn't make it today, so we have to go from the very beginning again. So looking forward to that.
He's just not your friend anymore. It's okay. It's pretty simple. Just unfriend.
Yeah. I will be doing it again once we get to the final phase. I feel like there may be a secret 4th phase just with the way that it's like being done.
I want to do it on my alts because
that's what I'm saying,
I want more of these guns.
Now that
these
there's a
guns
good
were
reward.
actually going to be good. Yeah.
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 So I will be doing the same.
Hopefully, I either get lucky again or the problems you guys have been talking about get fixed.
Yeah.
Oh, fingers crossed. Because I don't want to have to go through that again. It was an absolute nightmare. But yeah, it's just I kind of like it's getting to the point now. I expect more from CRG with this kind. Like my expectations are already on the ground.
But you shouldn't,
like, they're
because
already
they've
so
never
low.
given you a reason to, right? But we always expect more from them. Why?
Yeah,
I do the same thing.
Know.
I'm just like you. I always expect more, and I get mad when they don't. But why? They've never given me a reason to expect more. But I fall for it every time. Every time. Like, this one will be better. They're going to learn their lesson. Surely they won't push out the Save Stanton yet because it's totally not ready. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Save Stanton video, Save Stanton phase 1. And I was like, well, surely Save Stanton phase 1 is just television screens inside of the stations or something. Nope. It was phase 1, the actual missions. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. This is insane. But I just fall for it every time.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's just, it was like 10 hours today. So like I've pretty much like just finished up just as Croncy started streaming and then straight into here. So like I'm still feeling that from that.
Did you ever try for a server hop?
We had to because there was like a bug that I can't remember exactly what happened now. Just like PTSD's trauma with this game. We had like a bug where it wasn't like registering something with one of my friends, and we just had to go out and swap servers because it was just nothing was working for him, and then it was working.
And no improvement on the missions.
Why are we saving Stanton? Don't we just want Stanton to go away and we want to go somewhere else? Why are we saving?
That's phase 4, Mike.
Let it die.
Phase 4 is phase 4 is we fail and we're all in Pyro now for the rest of
it. Let it die for a while. I want to go somewhere else.
Yeah. I was like, speaking of like that, like when I see all the videos of the jump points, it's like when you're watching a video, that's why I haven't done like PTU or tried to do EVA or anything, is I want to try and make it experience live the first time, because like when I watch a video, I'm just like, oh yeah, it's what did I say? A colonoscopy, the game is what the jump point tube looks like.
We'll say it does look a lot better now. They did like a quick VFX pass of it this week, and it made it look quite nice. Your comment is still not inaccurate.
No, exactly.
But it does look a little bit nicer.
So, well, that's good. Yeah, I'm kind of just waiting for that, because like watching videos, it doesn't look like that amazing. But I'm sure like when you're actually in the shit, you've got the music, you've got everything. You're like, especially when it's like we've been if you've been around for a while now, it's been like 2018, 2019. We've been waiting to do this for 5-6 years now. So, but like, I'm kind of just like at this point. Just like it'll happen when it happens.
This cannot be understated, just because you mentioned the music. Just pump the albums that Pedro makes directly into my veins.
Yeah.
This
No,
guy
does really
kicks it out of the
awesome stuff.
park, knocks it out of the park every single time. The entire Pyro soundtrack is amazing. The jump point is amazing. Yeah,
it's the only time I've had Star
yeah.
Citizen music on in a really
Yeah.
long time is
Yeah.
is during Evo. I gotta say, I think
Yeah.
I talked about it last week. I was totally wrong, I think, based off of the reactions today and what I've been seeing over the last like couple days or I guess day and a half or whatever it is. I thought opening Evo would kind of kill the hype for others, because like I saw it already and like, you know, obviously there's a lot of frustrations around streamers being able to play it and I'm not, and all the stuff that always happens when we do this stuff. And like Wave 1, obviously you just pay $10 and you're in. So if you really want it, just fork up the $10. But it seems like people are still super hyped and it didn't really kill anything. So
yeah, I think seeing it gets you excited to experience it.
Yeah,
exactly. I was gonna say, like, they had already essentially showed it on like ISC and stuff like that. It's not very different watching a streamer or really your friend or whatever doing it.
Get marketed.
Yeah, get marketed.
That's basically
so
what
people
happens.
seem to be loving it when it works.
Yeah, but then I guess like the Intrepid, like the only thing is with that is as far as I'm concerned, the only two value for money starter game packages is the C8X and the Cutter, because every other game package you pay $15 for Star Citizen the game, and they're the only two you pay $10 for Star Citizen the game. So the Aurora Mustang and 100i cost you more for Star Citizen than the C8X and Cutter. So I'm hoping the Intrepid sits in that range where you're paying $10 for SC and that. But I think it should go up to a size 5 gun. Just mainly just for aesthetics. Like I don't really care. It's a starter ship. It's the reason why I could say size 5 no is because when you're a new player, if it's not bespoke, how expensive a size 5 gun's going to be for a new player to potentially swap out? It pushes.
That's why I think it should be bespoke, personally.
Yeah,
yeah.
Just so they'll have like an Ares Ion weapon swap combination, so you could go ballistic or energy bespoke style. But yeah, I think if the Intrepid Crusader ships normally always are super expensive for what they are and what they do. So, and it's also quite large from memory compared to the thing. So I'm expecting.
Big. But once again, so is every Crusader ship. Having a big profile is pretty common.
Yeah, so I'm expecting it to be like in the 55 range before we get to actually paying for the game. But what air quote AAA games in, I guess, US dollars is like $70 an average, I think, Mike, nowadays.
Yes.
Release. So like that's probably what they're going to be aiming for. But yeah, so yeah, C8X and that, well, you get best value for money if you plan to upgrade the ship into something else. So that's why I always recommend those for people. But I guess it's just like when I look at that, it's like value for money of like if you want to go spend more money, you can. But like starter ships are meant to be how you start the game. So armor locker, bed, weapon rack, storage, 6 to 12 SC, I'd say realistically. Because starting mining salvage is FPS, which you can do in a starter ship. For me, so you can effectively, if they make it so that you can carry, I guess, that equipment, that is how you start into mining, start into salvage, start into all these other things. So like it just needs to be somewhere where you can log out in, you can eat, store food and drink. And if they are going this route of,
I was trying to find
not
it
wearing
too.
armor.
I don't know if you guys know, but you could take one empty 1/8 SU containers, put them in the shelves, and they fit perfectly. So you can have like one for drinks, one for ammo, which is really cool, and one for medical. And it just, again, love the interior. Felt so livable, but the ship itself, I can't do it.
Yeah, I don't
agree
like
it looks amazing.
Yeah. Well, not everyone likes the what is it called? The offset cockpit and
Asymmetry,
I saw asymmetry. Yeah, a lot
I
of people
just
were
like. I
complaining
just
about it.
really like unique ships. When CIG bring out a ship that looks like proper unique, nothing like they've done, I'm just immediately hooked. I love that.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm
fair.
just whatever. It's just
it's just like it personally doesn't do it for me. I used to be like really big into Crusader ships, but like
I know
like
the amount of time you've complained about the looks of the MSR in my stream is insane.
What they did to that ship is a travesty, and I will never stop saying that.
Oh, look
Where
what I've
is
done
my
now,
big
Mike.
single thruster on the back? They got rid of the big thruster to fit an Ursa rover. Nobody cares about carrying an Ursa rover in a goddamn MSR. Stupid reason.
But you can respawn in one now, so now they do.
Yeah, medical rover.
Yeah, nice try.
Yeah, I guess so.
Nice
Just wait till
try.
they bring out a medical rock. That'll do it instead.
I was gonna say medical MSR feels like it's actually not too much of a stretch. Like honestly.
Yeah, well, you could easily redo the entire interior layout because they did such a poor job the first time around.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think for like starter ships, that's like what you really need is like a livable experience to get your first steps into SC is what we need to look at for. It needs to be able to do everything at a baseline to give you an idea of where you want to jump to. So I think that's what they need to focus on. The Cutter did a pretty good job of that. It's got pretty much everything you need to get into the game.
Cutter's got low DPS as well, though, right? Just 2 size 2s.
Yeah, 2 size 1s, isn't it? I'm pretty sure, or is it 2 size 2s? I honestly can't remember. But yeah, like the C8X, as far as I'm concerned, is you can't have that as a starter ship. You don't have beds. You don't have anything. You've got it's a snub. It's not a starter ship.
Yeah.
The Aurora and a Mustang.
That was the first ship I got.
Yeah, but
it was fine.
Awesome. Yeah, the C8X was awesome when it first came out. It was like really, really fun. It's always been super fun to fly.
You can't jump through a jump point in an Aurora. You know,
Can you actually not? Does it not have a jump drive?
It doesn't have a jump drive.
Well, that was one of the selling points of the C8X, was that it was one of the only size 1 little baby ships with a jump drive.
Bugged. I think it's bugged right now. It doesn't have a jump drive.
Possibly.
But my original pledge was an Aurora LN, and all I wanted to do was jump through a jump point with my original pledge, and I couldn't do it. I was so sad.
Yeah. So as far as like Mustang versus Aurora, like Aurora's going to need a massive rework to make it like viable, or they're just going to release something else and stop selling the Aurora and leave it as like a collector's piece, like the Mark 1 Hornets.
They might like Mark II the Aurora. I don't think they'll ever like stop selling it because behind the Hornet, it's a bit of a poster boy for Star Citizen.
I'd love
I guess so.
Aurora, you know.
Yeah, it's just the baby ship. And then like for the Mustang, I think the beta is more of the starter ship because it has all that stuff. The only thing it's missing is the storage option. Yeah. So like the beta is effectively a starter ship without storage because you got the bed, you got everything you need. But
yeah, and that's so old. It was before that kind of stuff. But
it was the Pathfinder back in the day, when pathfinding was apparently a thing. But yeah, and then
all right,
you know me.
It's been almost 20 minutes.
No,
to do your last.
You talking up on our streams. And I gotta go. I actually have to go. We started early because of me. So
yeah. All right. Well, as far as me, you know, I'm a big Anvil fan, so hopefully Anvil Paladin isn't crap. So probably will be, but hey, we'll see how it goes. And then Anvil, the Metapin, thank God they put the jump seat in it. It was so dumb it didn't have jump seats, but like, I love the Terrapin. I'm so thankful they're finally putting the medical variant in. I've been waiting like 4 years for this thing, so big hype for that. And then that's pretty much my closing remarks.
All right. Sorry we made them happen too quick for you, but yeah.
Oh, that's all right. It's Croncy knows how much of an Anvil fanboy I harass him about the Hornet all the time. So I want an F7A tracker. I want to upgrade my F7A
like
to the tracker.
Valkyrie, I'll be keen as beans. So.
Yeah, Valkyrie is. We need a cargo variant of the Valkyrie. 200 Star Lancer Max competitor would be awesome.
All right,
for the
shut
Valkyrie.
up.
Bye. I just hung up on him. He'll understand.
For reference, everyone in chat, Artesia's frequents both of our streams very frequently.
And types
don't worry.
a lot. He gets plenty of
airtime.
airtime.
We're allowed to do that.
Yes. and he also understands. So it's cool. But yeah, that's all we got for this week. So I think if this is your first podcast, first time checking out the show, go ahead and follow us. Check us out on our live streams, but also yeah, hit the subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. And if you guys are watching on Twitch, didn't catch the whole thing, it's going to be up on YouTube in like an hour, somewhere around there. So appreciate you guys enjoying the show. You guys come out every week for it. It's certainly the most people that I have on my stream every week is when we do this. So it's always nice to see the enthusiasm behind it. Sometimes making content can be frustrating, and it's never really frustrating to do this. So I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, next week will be IAE stuff. So I imagine we'll be talking about some ships, maybe again. We'll see what happens, but I also imagine we're going to be talking lots of 4.0. Get yourselves into 4.0. We'll see if we get the next Save Stanton phase, because if we do, it's going to be a pretty big deal. And yeah, thanks for calling in, guys.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be talking about ships next week, just based on what's there. We've already seen stuff, but yeah.
Possible roadmap this week as well, maybe. We'll see.
True, but are we going to learn anything from it? Because we're in that in between patches stage.
A weird one.
Yeah. So, yeah, it might be a little bit of a down week, but it might just be a very cool one with all the IAE stuff, and hopefully 4.0 gets a little bit better, and we'll start trying out contested zones together. I know, like, me and Burks were talking about playing, and if you want to join us, Croncy, if we're all playing at the same time,
yeah, of course,
please do. And yeah, so that's my goal, because for me, the only very big quotes content in Pyro is the contested zone gameplay and mining and salvage and stuff. But yeah,
there's a lot of stuff around there. That's the real big new gameplay, though.
Yeah, that's the big new thing. Obviously, we could do the same things we were doing in Stanton, more dangerously, I guess, in Pyro. But yeah, I'm super excited for the contested zone stuff, especially now that we figured it out. We think now it's a surviving it, which will be very, very difficult. We know, but will we survive? But yeah, that's where we'll leave it, guys. Thank you so much for watching and all that stuff. So like, subscribe on YouTube. I don't know how to do outros other than just don't forget
to answer the call.